here's the thing. For everybody listening, don't make the same mistake the Bengals just did in any facet of your life.
People are going to get hurt. It's the hockey season.
What about the Jared Cook play on the sideline?
I was very tempted to just put defense.
I'm saying it right now. If Anthony Davis is out for the playoffs, they don't make it out of the first round.
Come on, Austin and I have been saying this ever since Joe Burrow got injured.
I don't really think the Dodgers are going to make the World Series this year. I feel like they'll make it to the NLCS.
The Fernando Tatis extension, because that really surprised me.
Like you said, Ovechkin, he's getting older. He hasn't been playing as well as I imagined. He's one of the greatest goal scorers of all time, but he hasn't started off this season as hot as I would hope.
Hi, I'm Jeff Allen, and you're listening to Outsiders Opinions with Kevin and Austin.
What's up, y'all? Welcome to our MLB Opinions of the Week. We are talking about the World Series. Some World Series that people are complaining about, but I know the man that is not complaining, but is on edge. Austin.
Yeah, this is after your team made it all the way to the World Series and eventually won it. My team has made it to the World Series. We'll see how this ends up going. It's been a good playoffs. We've yet to see a 7-game series, obviously, because there's only been the ALCS and NLCS to go off of. But we have probably the MVP winner in the NL and probably the MVP winner in the AL facing against each other in the World Series.
Yeah, we talked about the matchups before this, and this is the heavyweight matchup. I'm surprised there hasn't been a matchup between these two historic organizations, the Yankees and Dodgers, since 1981, but we have it, and it lives up to the hype because you have Judge versus Ohtani, but you also have some great players as well. Giancarlo Stanton's been playing incredibly well. Juan Soto. You have Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts on the other side, pitching matchup as well. Garrett Cole. This is really just a star-studded World Series.
It is, and I think the MLB enjoys this after having a couple in the more of the smaller markets. Or I don't think Texas is necessarily a small market, but compared to a lot of the other fan bases in the MLB, it's definitely not on the higher end of or the top 5 or top 8 side of things. But this is more. I mean, the last big one like this was definitely Boston, LA, back in 2018. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be close. The Dodgers will end up having home field advantage, so games 1, 2, 6, and 7 will all be in LA, while games 3 through 5 will be in New York. It's going to be, I mean, the pitching duel I think is interesting because the Dodgers definitely don't have that many starters that they can really pitch long into games, whether because of injuries or other guys not really working out. They really just have Flaherty and Yamamoto at this point because Buehler struggled, and some other guys have also not performed. But the Yankees have had their fair share of problems, especially with the bullpen. The playoffs have been a lot cleaner for the bullpen, but definitely they still have issues. Nestor Cortez expects to be back. We'll see and what will end up happening, but the major storyline is Ohtani versus Judge, even though there are so many other players, MVP winners like Freeman and Mookie and Giancarlo Stanton, and one that probably should have won one and probably will win one in the future in Juan Soto. It does feel like a Judge versus Ohtani, or at least that's how it's been marketed.
Yeah, and to me, you talk about bigger markets and just historic franchises in LA and New York. To me, it's an easier World Series to sell to just the casual viewer. There's so many big names. You mentioned Ohtani, Judge, but you also have Freddie Freeman, who was here a few years ago with the Braves. Mookie Betts, who was in that 18 team in 2020. So I am really excited to see how this goes, because if you look at the different ways they got here, to me, the Yankees have been pretty close just all their way through. But in the NLCS, it was basically a blowout each game. I know the Dodgers came back in the final game to take the series against the Mets, but there weren't super close games that whole entire series. They do have the Padres, but sometimes it was a blowout. We didn't really see any blowouts from the Yankees on their way here.
Yeah, there were some games where I thought they kind of dominated, but there was no like crazy blow, and that's because of the offense. There's definitely been guys who've struggled. Jazz, Austin Wells, Trevino when he's played. There's been some guys that have struggled offensively, and it's gonna. The Yankees really relied on Gleyber Torres once, Soto, and Giancarlo Stanton. And that, well, you can rely on 3 guys. It's going to be harder against the Dodgers because they know what's coming. I'm extremely interested to see how Ohtani plays without runners in scoring position. He's been a menace all playoffs with guys on, but can he perform with guys with no one on base? And can Judge have a good series? I could see this series going either way. Honestly, it's extremely close matchup, and I'm excited to watch it.
Yeah, I'm excited with it as well. I'll let you do your. Do you want to go first or last since it's your team?
I'll go last. I'll let you go first.
Okay. This one to me, it's really tough. It's to me, it's going to go 7 games. It's going to go down to the wire. I want to say. I'm figuring it out. I think I'm going to go Dodgers just because of the star power and their offense, but it's really tough because the Mets had some good pitchers, but I would say the Yankees have better pitchers. But
it's close. I mean, it's just going to depend on who comes to play because Diaz did struggle during the postseason. So, but also Sean Manaea had a great postseason, so it's close. I think I agree with you. I think I have Dodgers in 7 as well, and it's really going to come down to can Judge have a good series. I think that's at some point. Even though Stanton's having one of the greatest playoff runs of all time, he's arguably the greatest playoff hitter ever. His at-bats per home run are insane. Kevin, he's on pace. If this was a 162-game season, right? If you just take his playoffs for his entire career, he'd be hitting 70 homers in a season. That's like the pace he's on through his 37 or so games in the postseason. So at some point, you're just going to walk him and say, can Judge beat you? And right now, that hasn't been the case. I do have Dodgers in 7. I think it's going to – I agree with you that it's going to go to 7. It's just I think the Dodgers are more ready for the moment than the Yankees are because the guys – Jazz has struggled, Judge has struggled, Wells has struggled. Rizzo's played well, so is Torres, Soto, and Stanton, but you can't do a half lineup, and the Dodgers do have so many guys that have been there and done that. So many guys have won a title. Obviously, Ohtani has not, but I think we all expect him to play well this series.
Yeah, I would say also World Series MVP. I'm going to go Ohtani. Probably the easy answer, Ohtani.
I don't think Ohtani would win it. If Ohtani, I don't think he's played well this postseason. I'm going to go Mookie Betts.
Ooh, Mookie Betts. That's another good one. And I think it's going to be exciting, and we will keep you all with coverage, and I'll let Austin close this one out.
Yeah, thank you guys for listening. Please let us know your predictions, how many games, who will win World Series MVP, and obviously the winner. Thank you guys again.